Just weird. By the way, there's a little bit of potential breaking news here. talkSPORT understands that a deal has been agreed between Chelsea and Leicester for Wesley Fofana. More information as we get it. It's coming. Reports are coming out of France that a deal has been struck. I think Chelsea were going back in with a deal for around about £77 million, and it looks like that deal may well be getting very close to be done. So again, talkSPORT understands that a deal has been agreed between Chelsea and Leicester for Wesley Fofana. More information as we get it. Of course, I'll be at Stamford Bridge tomorrow as Leicester travel to Stamford Bridge. Wesley Fofana didn't play in that game against Southampton. His head wasn't right. Brendan Rodgers came out and spoke to the press about the difficult situation that everyone finds themselves in. Fofana clearly, from what we heard, and Brendan pretty much said that he wants to leave, wanted to go and join Chelsea. Chelsea will pay around about 70 million plus add-ons. So, like I said, around 70 to 80 million pounds, all included. Of course, those add-ons are something that we see often now in these deals. So, wow. We'll tell you if there's any more information, but he will not be involved in that game against Chelsea tomorrow afternoon. But just to repeat that again for those that have just turned the radio on, talkSPORT understands that a deal has been agreed between Chelsea and Leicester for Wesley Fofana. What do you think of that, Gemma?
They've got to sell him. They have to sell him, because if his head's not in the right place, because of this deal's coming in, they didn't accept it first time, his head's not going to get any better. No. Especially if that move does not come, he's then going to be sulking all the way through, and then you've just lost a player and you've got no money. But
we saw a little bit of this with Harry Kane, didn't we, at the beginning of the season, where Man City clearly wanted him. They weren't prepared to pay the asking price. From what we know, this is not official, but I think we can read between the lines, and because we know how football works and players work, his head would have been turned. Huge money was offered. Spurs didn't want to sell. That's their absolute prerogative. They don't have to. And he started the season slowly. You don't want to find yourself, when you are in the league, the position you are right now as Leicester, having a player that doesn't want to be there and find that you've turned down the thick end of £80 million.
Yeah, and then he's trying to see out his contract to leave, and then
he's just signed a 5 year.
He's signed a 5 year.
Signed a 5 year. So listen, they've secured his future, but this is. Look, I think if a player wants to leave, and I'd love to get thoughts on this from Leicester fans and Chelsea fans, any fan, 03717 223344. What is not? If you're a footballer, a young man at 21, and you can be offered Champions League football and go and play for, Chelsea were Kings of Europe 2 years ago. He's going to want to go, isn't he?
He's going to want to go.
He's going to want to go. So what do they do as a club, Leicester? Do they hold on to this player? Should the player speak? And fans have this opinion, Gemma, said, stick him in the reserve. You can't do that anymore, mate. You can't do that.
What the club would have done, or should do, is speak to the player and find out where his head is. Look, we want to keep you, but we've had an offer and we're going to reject it, but we want to really keep you. That player then's got one option. Okay, but these are my ambitions. This is what I want. This is what I want to achieve. If we get there, fine. If not, I want to go now. So the club going, okay, we can't, we can't get you in the Champions League. We're not going to get there for 2, maybe 3 years or whatnot, but we're going to let you go now then, okay? They can't hold him for ransom, because he's going to lose his head. Yeah. He's not going to be any good to you moving forward.
No, you're right.
And then you're losing out on a lot of money to then replace that player.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And fans have this idea of saying, well, stick him in his, he's signed a contract. Yeah, I get all of that, but the reality of it is, your value of that player at 70, 80 million, whatever it is, if you don't play him, he's only going to go down. You're going to lose. The value of that player is going to go down, and money talks. 03717 2233. For any thoughts on that, Leicester City fans? I think the best thing to do, move him on, invest that money.
Correct.
Because Leicester right now, it would appear struggling slightly financially. I tell you what, Chris has just dialed up on the back of that news. Who's a Chelsea fan? Chris, good evening and welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, lads.
Pleasure, matey. What do you want to say, Chris?
Yeah. Well, yeah, as you say, just literally heard it just there, and I've seen it on my phone as well, the reports. And I think recently we've been getting a lot of stick with the values for Correa and other signings he's made. But I think 80 million, or round about 80 million, whatever it is, with add-ons. I think if you look at that over 6 years, I think that's a great signing. English international. He's got a lot to come up with, and I think he's exactly what we need as well on that right-hand side.
He's French.
French, sorry, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, French, yeah. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, especially like on the right-hand side, obviously we've lost Rudiger, we've lost Christensen. Ashby getting a bit older now, lacking that pace. I think him and James interchanging on the sort of right wing back, right centre back. I think for the future, I think it is really just really positive and perfect player for us.
So now you signed, two defenders, and you spent close to now 130 million on two defenders. Is that money well spent? Is that the areas you really should be looking at? Obviously, Kabali coming in, and you've got Sterling, but do you not think a number 9 would be
100%
the main target rather than spending 80 million on Fofana?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it was the basis of the defence, and now I do think we do need that clinical number 9. Obviously, Aubameyang, sort of deals going on with Barcelona for that, so I think if that deal goes through as well, I think maybe wait for a midfielder next year, and I think really them defenders, a clinical number 9, Sterling, I think all round good transfer window for us.